we have a meeting for their valuable input, the time, coming back, interrogating information that we receive, so that we can come back to you with some sound information, so to speak, that we can feed back to Manco for deliberation. And so the contents of tonight, we're going to be addressing some issues, and that's of course PPS, among others, and insurance companies, labor consultants, financial planner consultants, the disaster fund that we spoke about at our last interaction, template letters to landlords. Some members have asked for assistance in this regard. The inquiry to dental traders, and then of course government and medical aids, how that has impacted practices. We have reason to believe that some members have had some difficulty with regard to UIF, etc. The COVID-19 term loan schemes for small and medium enterprises with commercial banks, as you are all aware by now. And then of course, finally, the question that was raised around the DDF Trust Fund to come to the party to assist membership. So tonight we're going to give you some answers on some of those particular issues that I have listed. So firstly, for PPS, as you know, we did make an approach to them and an appeal for some assistance, considering the fact that the income protection policy, we have covered our income all this time. However, only to come out and find out now that in actual fact, it doesn't serve any one of us. It doesn't help. It does not, has not really come to make any difference for us. And so we made an appeal for some direct initiatives, either for a direct injection to the practices, or interest-free fixed loan amounts on a case-by-case basis, for PPS to come seeing that our insurance and the fact that we have, in actual fact, taken cognizance and preparation, paid premiums to cover our income, and that now only being appropriate as a sickness benefit and not for a pandemic, and neither are our business interruption incentives covered, so to speak. So the next one was the indirect initiatives. And of course, that in this way, PPS to engage with banks, to utilize their existing relationships, to make a case for a ring-fenced fund by way of being able to give preferential loans to interested and affected members. And I have to stress at this point in time, this was all looking for various options for people to assist members at every level. The third part was about the premiums, the PPS premiums for income protection and for some of the products that some of you in actual fact have policies for. And PPS agreed to allow members to pay premiums from the profit share account during level 5 and now the level 4 lockdown periods. We did subsequently receive information from the membership that they were advised of penalties that were imposed on members for requesting to have their PPS premiums paid from the profit share account. We then re-engaged and interrogated the matter and challenged it. And I've just heard this afternoon, further to our engagement, that the penalties have been waived now. So you will not be charged a penalty. However, that loan that you make from the profit share account to cover your PPS premiums certainly needs to be paid back to the profit share account. And you do have until 2021 to repay that loan. So that is insofar as our engagements with PPS is concerned. It is the same for all the other insurance companies as far as the income protection is concerned, vis-a-vis income protection policies and business interruption policies. It is certainly very different. So I think, and we do have a SADA representative on PPS, which is not the case with all the other insurance companies like Old Mutual or Sanlam or Aon. And I would urge you that if you do need any of the documentation that we've submitted to PPS, that we can perhaps assist you in that regard with the other insurance policies. There is obviously the other issue regarding the PPS PPE incentives, for which we would say we are grateful. They set aside a ring-fenced fund as part of their social responsibility. That's how they explained it. Subsequently, SADA and SAMA, sorry, you have SADA, there's SADA and SAMA, and PPS were in some liaisons. And up until now, what we have is that the only question is around the distribution to the members. That is in progress. There is consideration for a digital platform, and this will in actual fact be announced because it did not make sense operationally to have one area from which they would be distributing the PPE. So therefore, there would probably be interaction with the different members on a digital platform. So I would say to you at this stage, watch this space. There will definitely be an announcement, perhaps in the SADA right, to advise you as to where you might be able to obtain some PPE products funded by PPS. When it comes to labor consultants, I want to answer the question, why do we consult? Why do we need consultants? Why is it not possible that we can in actual fact just do it? And you will agree with me that there is power in negotiating for numbers. Numbers bring power. So it is much better to negotiate for a number of people, for an association, as opposed to having one individual going to a bank or different banks and asking for favorable responses. And of course, bargaining power as a collective is another advantage and another reason why we consult and we have consultants. It also allows for member flexibility, which means that your interaction with consultants is then practice dictated. SADA is merely there to find the resources, negotiate on your behalf, but further than that, all the negotiations need to take place. And of course, contracts and agreements and interactions is practice dictated as it is practice specific. There's no one size fits all. I can assure you that we look for reliability, we look for a good footprint in the business sector, and of course, experience. And that is why we have independent directors on this work stream to guide us and to inform us of what the options are out there or what in actual fact we should be cautious of. The most important thing that we keep at the forefront is that there can be no recourse or undue liability to SADA, especially in this particular time. So whilst we take care, that is one of the things that we have to in actual fact be cautious of and to monitor. So 2 labor consultants were identified to assist members with some complex labor issues. I would have no surprise if you were to tell me you had some labor issues with regard to staff members perhaps not wanting to come to work because of risk, or other issues, payment issues, anything related to labor. We sought quotations to compile guidelines on common labor problems that members will experience now, especially in level 4, being more exposed, more at risk, etc. And the plan was that if we have one common document that will be available for all the members, members may then consult these consultants on an individual basis. And this is subject to a favorable fee that is currently being negotiated by SADA. Members will then be informed of the details of these 2 consultants, once the guidelines are completed. So that is where we are at the moment. Negotiations have been had, and we are just awaiting some final results on the guidelines and on the costs. As it is, we had to negotiate for the best rate possible. With regard to the financial planner assistance, we came across and realized that it is not only to inject cash or assist with cash flow, but some members do need some advice to see how they can navigate through this particular time in the best way possible. So the financial planner identified to assist members with financial challenges have, up until now, we have not made the name available, which we would when we have finalized negotiations, because as you will hear, as I discuss further, there were some concerns that we had about this, but this financial planner came very highly recommended because of their stance. We had a virtual consultation, or they intend to have a virtual consultation with each of the members for the purpose of conducting a deep situational analysis of the business. Of course, they want to assist you that it's not just for an amount to be thrown in, but it in actual fact will be focused and it will be calculated. They will assist members then further to this to implement the specific action plan further to this virtual consultation. They will give assistance with debt restructuring, and of course on your behalf negotiate such as the landlord, lenders, asset finance providers, SARS, creditors and employees. Now we don't doubt this, that there are members who already have this service because they have financial planners that they have as retainers. However, there are some members that do not have this, and this particular planner certainly want to come up with a unique product to assist the members during COVID-19. After restructuring, they then want to assist the member with residual cash flow, how to navigate, how then to disperse the funds that are now available to the best outcome of the practice. They will assist with additional funding in terms of legal requirements for the practice as well, going forward to make sure their main specialty is turnarounds and strategic business planning. And they do have the necessary expertise and season on board to assist our members. SADA and the consultants together are still in the process to, and of course the consultants will negotiate with one or more banks for an established closed fund. The closed fund will then be allocated according to the situational analysis that they have come up for the number of people that would need this. So this is not a disaster fund, but it will certainly be a closed fund that will be borrowed, lent to the membership to aid them at specific preferential interest rates that at the time might be appropriate. So they will, of course, assist the members with application forms, and members will certainly receive the notices and information shortly. The concerns raised by the relief resourcing team with regard to this financial planner is firstly the fees for service and how that relates to the desired outcomes or outcomes that people might have. It's important that it cannot be, SADA cannot be prescriptive. It will be non-prescriptive as to enforcing this on the membership. The negotiations and the situational analysis will of course be practice specific or practice dictated, and options must be explored. You have to take accountability and in your negotiations with this planner, negotiate on options and be advised properly. Of course, the issue of guarantees and questions and consequences always remain questionable. There are no guarantees as to what type of funding you would have, the interest rates, and what would be the outcomes. That has to be negotiated on a person-to-person basis. It's important that there will be a SADA disclaimer. SADA will not be responsible or held responsible for outcomes, etc. That has to be negotiated with a financial planner. There might be the issue of service level agreements, and this is something that we are not certain about. I'm sure if some of you want to ask some questions, we do have some legal representatives that will be able to answer you. The one we draw your attention to, that was raised by the resourcing team, is that this processing of all of these things take time, and the time is questionable. We don't know. You might all have experience submitting applications to UIF, to the banks for COVID-19 relief, without in actual fact hearing or having any response for an undue time. So that is something that you must be aware of. In terms of the disaster fund that some members asked us to apply for, there was a consultant at first that was appointed to establish COVID-19 aid and relief intervention for dental businesses. This was going to be a disaster fund, particularly targeting dentists and our plight as a people who don't have income protection when it comes to a pandemic. This is now. And of course, what emerged from there is that SADA had to map out, and this is what the outcome, this is what it means, that we have to map out the need and identify the business needs amongst registered dental businesses on a range from PPE that you would need to business grants, business loans via the loan guarantee fund that are available from various banks. And of course, SADA, as well as the consultant, would be responsible and accountable for communication, processing of application, coordination, evaluation, and reporting on the success of this program. So for this project to be put into effect, a significant number of dental practices will have to support this and request this for the program to be initiated. We could not do this for a limited number of members. And with the assistance of the consultant, SADA, of course, needs to determine the appetite for the relevant departments within the DTI for this project. Quotations have been asked from the consultant, and the matter was then subsequently referred to board. So I just want to get on to outcome. The report that we heard from board is that this matter, or the application, was rejected by the SADA board for reasons of the huge cost outlay, 125,000 Rand for the organization, particularly at this time. When we have no income is a bit of a problem. The period of implementation is 3 months, which is still considered long. There is no detail or guarantee that this will take off. It is not clear how this would be funded. And of course, it is foreseen that there is a possibility of further costs beyond the time proposed. However, we want to ensure the membership that the explorations, the deliberations, and the resourcing on this matter will continue. If there be a possibility to find and set up a disaster fund to assist dentists particularly, that is certainly the way we would want to go, especially considering that insurance companies don't seem to have an appetite to cover businesses, especially medical practices, for a pandemic. And it might be something that we have to consider for the future, because if this happens in the future again, we will find ourselves in the same position, unless, of course, we are going to do something about it and be proactive in setting ourselves up and protecting ourselves further. With regard to template letters to the landlord, You may understand that it's definitely practically not possible for SADA to intervene and negotiate on behalf of members with the individual landlords and asking for payment holidays or reduction in their rental agreements. Members will be provided with template letters, and you may alter this and adjust this that you can address to your landlord. And that's of course going to be very soon. I have personally seen the templates. And of course, I believe, I stand to correction, the templates have already been made available on the SADA website under clinical resources. So you are welcome to go under clinical resources and find the templates available and amend it to suit it, because it has to be practice specific. We've negotiated with the dental traders as well. And this was on request of the members to ask for payment holidays and other financial benefits, so to speak, or discounts. And the written representation was made to the Dental Traders Association. But in response, the dental traders indicated that it's not realistic for any one of the link in a supply chain to expect that another supply chain will carry full financial burden of it. And they, of course, felt that they are in the same boat. They have the same financial burden, and they were not in a situation to grant, as a blanket rule, some financial relief. Most of their products are imported, and apart from the risk of cutoff of supply, if they are not paid, they in actual fact cannot proceed to purchase and import their products. They claim that they're also facing massive foreign exchange losses as a result of South African currency and the rand depreciating dramatically. This work stream wants to encourage you to continue negotiating with suppliers on an individual basis and ask. You have a standing and an established relationship with the suppliers, and you should proceed and ask for some benefit for ongoing relationship. We have noted, however, as soon as the SADA clinical protocols draft was released, the traders published product brochures with costs and stuff that they were making available in terms of PPE and the different products that members would be needing for ongoing practice. And because of trusted long-term relationships, members proceeded to order some of the products, and they placed those orders. There was no honesty in these brochures as to the product availability. Lots of back orders, many back orders. And for some of you, as I have had some reports, there has been no delivery for the past 2 weeks. And of course, it obviously is good business practice for them to set the brochures out and advertise their products. But it would be important for them to advise that the products are not available. They would be available only at 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, etc. That would have assisted so much. And as you all may have noted, that the PPE distributors are in abundance. You just have to look on WhatsApp and look on Facebook, and everybody is selling PPE products, so to speak. So you are advised to follow protocol, and you are advised to keep note and, of course, compare your prices. With regard to some of the government institutions, we have received from the UIF complaints about delayed payouts. And we did request from the UIF commissioner a list of some of the people who have received payments, which was published. However, we do need a map of those people who are still, those members who are still awaiting delayed payments, and you are encouraged to report that so that representation could be made to the UIF commissioner to ask for expedition, and so that it could be fast-tracked, your payments. The Road Accident Fund also, there was a report of delayed payments over a period of more than 18 months. However, we do stress that this is outside the COVID-19 period, and this matter will be referred to the Dental Practice Committee to take this further. We did agree, however, that management could probably pen a letter requesting fast tracking of payments so that some of the members could be helped out of financial crises, so to speak. We also have reason to believe that members are being squeezed by the rules that are made by the medical aids. There are lockdown rules that, of course, means that certain procedures will not be covered. And of course, it's not well defined because sometimes when you maybe do a root canal treatment, they would not cover for obturation. Some of the medical aids, some say now with stage 4, they would. There are different experiences. We hear different reports and different advices from members. Also, when it comes to PPE cover for patients, the increased costs, members seem to be, the patients seem to be indifferent to it, members as well. And so you as a practice, it is good for you to procure and explain, show the calculation to the patients in terms of what it has cost you so that those costs can be covered. Even if the medical aid is not going to cover the patient for PPE. The patient has to be advised, and so it requires good communication from your part. As far as the coding and the procurement is concerned, I do know we will be having a meeting with that work stream as well. So I'm sure you watch the SADA right, and there will be further information from there. So yes, as far as medical aids are concerned, there is an added administrative requirement and need on your behalf, load. So patient communication is fundamentally important for you to be covered for all the expenses that you need to incur, especially during this time and post-COVID, as we continue with the practice of dentistry. The next discussion, last one, is the COVID-19 term loan scheme for small and medium enterprises with commercial banks. And of course, the new initiative, of course, is, this is a new initiative. As you may know, the finance ministry engaged and liaised with the different commercial banks. And of course, it works on a first come, first served basis. And the National Treasury was going to provide government guaranteed loans to SMEs, and especially for those of us that cannot meet our financial obligations during lockdown and when the economy is going to reopen. These 5-year loans will be available at prime interest rate. It's available from ABSA, Nedbank, FNB, Standard Bank. I did hear today that Investec Bank also are negotiating at the moment. They should be coming forth with some of the outcomes. You can apply online or with the assistance with a personal banker. I am told that the turnaround time is 7 days. My personal experience is that it has been longer than 7 days. Qualifying criteria includes that you must be an existing client of the bank that you are applying to. Annual turnover is 300 million or less, and that you have a good standing with the bank. This, of course, applies to business. I would be very pleasantly surprised if there are practitioners who have 300 million turnover per year. You're registered with SARS. And of course, if you are negatively impacted by, and you have been, by the COVID-19 lockdown. So the key features of this term loan, it's called a term loan because it's a 5-year loan, and they would call it 66 months, 60 months of repayment, but 6 months of a payment holiday, which means it's interest-free. You will not be paying interest for the first 6 months. So it is for operational expenses, such as salaries, rent and lease agreements, contracts with suppliers, and utilities for a period of 3 months of the COVID-19 term. And the approval, of course, is subject to the bank's risk evaluation and credit application processes. The bank does hold the right to decline an application based on its assessment. And that, of course, will impact on members, which is why we definitely sourced alternative sources for the membership. A business can only apply for one loan from one bank at prime interest rate. I've already mentioned the 66 months, and at the end of month 7, businesses will be expected to start to repay the loan. Interest will accumulate from the date on which the first drawdown of the loan occurs. No additional admin or initiation fee will be charged for those loans. So they are certainly making an attempt and going some way to try to assist practitioners and those in small business. What are the restrictions on these loans? Certainly the loan cannot be used for payment of dividends, shareholder loans, and payment of such loans are restricted until the COVID-19 loan has been repaid in full. The loan can also not be used to pay existing debts. It is only for future operational expenses. And this includes existing overdrafts. I have had communication that banks have refused to give members loans based on the fact that there are existing overdrafts. And of course, the debate was, how do you proceed from there? Because this might be the situation that many practitioners find themselves in, given the fact that the slowdown in the economy or the financial issues, economic constraints in actual fact started some time back, and many practices have suffered the consequences. The owners may be required to sign personal surety or personal guarantee, and the loan amount cannot be used to pay retrenchment packages of your staff. So what type of expenses are considered as part of operational expenses? It's such as salaries and wages, rental and lease agreements, utility payments, supply chain expenses, and other operating expenses such as security of premises, and of course, cash in transit, which very seldom happens with us, does not affect us as such. So there's a duplicate slide. I'm sorry about that. What is the information for the applicant, for you? What you will need? You need your business turnover over the last 12 months, business expenses, current debt repayments, net profit before tax over the last 12-month period, your tax number, the description of how you as a practice has been impacted by COVID-19, a list of the business's monthly operational expenses for 3 months, for which a loan is required. And then, of course, that is broken down with all the other previous issues that I've just covered on salary and wages and rental and supplier payments, etc. So the time frame for assessing your application for the COVID loan, upon initial application, you can expect to hear back from the bank. Again, it says 7 business days. I certainly put in some question marks. When it comes to the DDF Trust, members have queried if the funds held by the DDF Trust can be used to assist members during this period. And of course, there are categories of members and different needs that have been outlined. SADA did make a formal appeal to the DDF Trust, and they are awaiting feedback from the trustees. And we're asking members to understand that the trust deed makes for very specific reasons money that can be spent, and the trustees are obliged to observe the terms and conditions of the trust deed. It is the Dentistry Development Fund, but of course a case has been made by SADA to see to what extent can we assist the membership. So I want to let you know that exploration, deliberation, and resourcing continues all the time. So that is in conclusion the feedback that we want to give you for all the issues and stuff that we have raised. And of course, now we're going to have time to deal with your questions. I thank you for listening, and I thank you for each and every one of you for your time and for your responses and for your feedback. Thank you so much. Back to CEO. CEO, can't hear you. You are muted.
Can you hear me now?
Thank you. Can hear you now.
Yes, thank you so much. So what we are going to do now, I'm going to ask all the panelists to be ready so that we can take the questions from you. Please, I've typed on the chat section. Do not type your question there, but type them on the Q&A section. We currently have about 295 people on the Zoom, and we have 32 people that are watching us through the YouTube. We do apologize. The Facebook did not want to load our live streaming, and we had to urgently move to YouTube. I just want to give this admin information before we start on the questions. Those of you that are on the Zoom, you will get your CPD points as long as you've attended the whole session, which is 1 CEU for today. You do not need to do anything further. If you are joining us by YouTube, you will need to download the questions that are already uploaded on our website for this webinar. You need to respond to those questions, and you need to achieve the pass mark that is given there for you to be able to get your points. This webinar is going to be available immediately when we stop at our website as well. So those people that did not attend the webinar can download, or they can watch the webinar and also have an opportunity to answer to the questions, and obviously then get the necessary CEU points. Thank you so much. So let me go to the questions. We've got about 21 questions that I have. Some of them would have been answered as we go along, but I'm going to start and I'm going to read all the questions. The first question is, the topic was raised before, is SADA waiving our fees because no definite answer was given? I will start by answering that question because I think I'm the most appropriate person to answer this. We will be giving you an answer possibly next week, but the organization is looking very, very strongly at seeing how we can actually assist you as members. So you will get an answer hopefully in this coming week. I will move to the next question. Dr. Chetty says, Dr. Solomon, she says, there's no point in PPS premiums being paid from profit account since we have to pay it back. Why do we have to pay this back since it's our profits? Would you like to take that question, or somebody? Dr. Solomons?
Oh, thank you, CEO. I think this is probably the same question as what they did say. The reason why they make it payable back to PPS, to the profit share, is so that the bias is excluded, and of course it's makes it fair to other people who in actual fact don't borrow from it. That was the reason they gave, because we did ask about that. And it is an option. If you have other means, then you have to make a loan, which you have to pay back. In this instance, it's profit share. You're not going to pay interest. You're not going to pay admin fees, but you actually are going to ensure your cover, and you have time to repay this loan interest-free until 2021. The reason they gave was purely for the reason for fairness to the rest of their membership, as it is dentists form a very small number, a small percentage of PPS. And that was the explanation they gave. Thank you, CEO.
Thank you, Dr. Solomon. I just want to remind everyone, we're going to try and ensure that we are done by 8:30, as we are aware that the President will be addressing the nation tonight. So we don't want to disadvantage you from listening to the President. I'm sure the sort of thing that he will say on COVID. The next question is, with regards to the PPE incentive, what if your insurance lies with another company instead of PPS? Will I still be able to qualify for that PPE incentive? Do you want to deal with that, Dr. Solomons?
Yes, I think as a SADA member, you will in actual fact qualify for the PPE. You don't have to be a PPS member, but if you're a SADA member, you will qualify. It is part of their social responsibility, and they will make it available to SADA members. Thank you, CEO.
Thank you. This particular initiative, SADA and SAMA and PPS are working together. We've been working together and with Dr. Mansour and our chairperson as well involved. What is going to happen is they're going to be sending a link very soon. And as an individual dentist, you will actually apply, and then they will look at what is the best way to actually get that PPE to you for free. That's basically what we have negotiated, and that's what they've offered to do. The next question from Anonymous: why does SADA say no source of income? You are getting monthly premiums and a separate fund that is not in the member's eye. More transparency is required regarding SADA's finance. I will deal with this one. I think I'm, again, the most appropriate. I want to make it very clear, because I think there is a mistake that some members don't fully understand. I hear people saying SADA's got so much millions, so much millions. Let me put this way. SADA's money or SADA's income comes from two sources. The first source is the membership fees, okay? The second source, it is traders sponsorships. Those are the two areas where we get our main income. Of course, we get an administration fee from DP, but that's like very minute in the bigger scheme of things. Many people are referring to the DDFT fund as a SADA fund. It is not a SADA fund. The board does not even have a say on what happens with that fund. That is a separate entity which is governed by its own regulations. And that's why now we had to go and ask and see if it's possible that they are able to assist you as members. So please, I want us to separate. Our income is only from membership fee. We don't have a loads of money. And please, I hope that everyone understands that particular one. Then the question that now arises is, what is Discovery Life's position on the income protector and pandemic? We are awaiting we basically, in this case, we don't have an answer at this stage. The good thing is we are meeting in the next, I think between Friday and Wednesday, we will be meeting with the CEOs of GEMS, meeting with the CEOs of Discovery, meeting with the CEOs of MedScheme. And those are some of the issues that we will raise. Dr. Solomons, did you want to add something?
Yes, thank you, CEO. I think we have also spoken about the future and looking how can we source insurance companies, perhaps for looking at options, to explore options to cover us for the future, particularly including pandemics. And of course, it might not come in an insurance fund form. It might come in an investment form, where you can begin to look at, because at the moment with insurance, you pay and there's no guarantee that you're going to get some back and cover back. So we are looking at perhaps considering, and of course, asking for different products. And some of our dependents have definitely been advising us on that. Thank you, CEO.
Thank you very much. The next question, which I will answer, is, will Discovery Life also come to the party regarding PPE? What I can tell you that what's on the table now with the new CEO of Discovery is got to do with first the payment of PPE in your surgeries. And that's why we're having this meeting with them, Discovery, on Tuesday. We will raise the issue of the Discovery Life also assisting as a social responsibility, as you would know that they don't, obviously Discovery Life have got other people other than dentists. It's something that we will raise and we'll be able to give you feedback. But the big issue now on the table, which they are willing to talk to us, is how do we help, how can we help you as dentists with the heightened need of PPE that need to be changed regularly at your practices for you to be able to offer a decent healthcare to your patient? How can they assist us? Because currently, as you know, the coding that we have does not really provide for where we are at. It's not adequate, and we need to ensure that the dentists do not suffer and bear the brunt of the cost of the PPE that is now required, even through our own protocols that we have released. Dr. Osman has indicated to remind people, please, you can go to www.sada.co.za, clinical resources, and you'll be able to get most of the things that relate to COVID, whether it is things that we have released before, or it is the templates that you need, the templates that Dr. Solomon spoke about. You can download those for free. And maybe at this stage, I need to say this. During the COVID time, we are open to assist any person who is in the oral health space. It does not matter whether you're a SADA member or not a SADA member. And that's why even our webinar, as you see now, they are open to every person in the oral health space. We also are going to ensure that if you've attended, you get your CPD, whether you're a member of SADA or not a member of SADA. This is a bigger thing than any one of us. And we want to try to make sure that the profession is assisted in that regard. The next question is from, I would assume it's Dr. Desai. Please join an organization called SADA, the South African Independent Tenants Association, headed up by Dr. Blumenthal. We know Dr. Blumenthal to negotiate with landlords on one's behalf. First 6 months membership to SADA is free. I'm not quite sure if this is relating to SADA or directly to the members themselves. I would think this is for the members themselves, and thank you, Dr. Desai, on that note. I do not see, I see Dr. Erasmus. You just typed Dr. Erasmus. If there's anything, please, can you retype your question? Dr. Pestana, who do we address our complaints to? Problems with payouts from the COVID TERS fund. You can send that to legal@sada.co.za, legal@sada.co.za, and we'll try to assist you. What we can say to you is, as much as the fund has indicated that their turnaround time is 10 days, we have found that the turnaround time is actually much longer than 10 days. We are aware that some of our members have already received payments, but we are also aware that some have not yet received payments. So if you've got issues, let us know. We have, as we've indicated through Dr. Solomon, are going to be writing to the scheme, indicating to them that it looks like somehow the processing for the health side is not moving fast enough. But please, one thing that I've realized this week, a member of SADA called me and said she has not received payment from the UIF. When I asked her, when did you apply? She told me, sorry, this was last week, on Friday. She told me she applied on Monday the very same week. Unfortunately, that cannot work. You have to apply and then wait for the process to go through. If the UIF has got a problem with regards to your application, they will send you an email saying this is what is missing, or please redo your application. If they're happy, they will also say, we've received, acknowledge, and nothing will come from there until they give you or pay you the money. The one thing that we've discovered as well in the payment of money is that sometimes you get paid a lump sum, which does not explain the breakdown as to who of your employees get what amount of money. If that happens, there is always information on which we have provided ourselves, but in the emails coming from UIF, please email them and ask for them to give you a breakdown as to how you should pay your employees from the sum that you would have received. Added to that, if you are overpaid, please don't use the overpayment. You're going to be in trouble. If you are overpaid, they provide you with information. Please send the money back to UIF. The next question is, why doesn't SADA ask the CMS and medical aids to allow balance billing during this time for codes 809 and 8110? We can get the difference on PPEs from the patient. I can assure you that this is what we are doing. First prize is to get the medical aid scheme to cover it in full so that you don't have to claim it from the patient. Second prize is for the HPCSA to relax their rules on this so that they can allow us to actually have this split billing and be able to balance billing and be able for us to charge the patient. Maybe Punkaj might want to add something here. PG? Your mic is, Punkaj, is there anything you want to add on this issue of PPE? I think I'm struggling with Punkaj. No? Okay, looks like it can't, something has happened, he can't see me or can hear me. I'll carry on. Anonymous has said, what is the point of a 5-year loan at prime interest? The banks are still profiting at our distress. This is not SADA. You are giving information only. Any of the team that want to answer this from Dr. Solomon's team?
Keshi, I can pop in there.
Hiten can go. Hiten is a member of the board and he's a CA by profession. Go through, Hiten.
So, Casey, that 5-year loan, the one benefit of the loan is it comes in at prime rate. The second aspect is it's got a 6-month holiday payment period, so you don't pay for the loan in the first 6 months, and thereafter is the loan only accumulates interest and the capital repayment is applied. The second part of it is the banks don't need to do a due diligence check on you. Banks are purely funding based on your needs, requirements and operational expenditure that is required to keep your business functional on a day-to-day basis. So in terms of if you had to go and apply for a loan, if it wasn't COVID, there's a lot more stringent policies put in place. This one here is less, let's put it, there's less red tape involved in it.
Thank you very much. Dr. Solomon, do you want to add anything or can I go through?
You may proceed, CEO. I think the question then to answer is, of course, SADA just providing information. That was the actual question, is why do we provide information? Because the banks are still scoring. And this is option. It's relief resourcing. It is an option to fund the members. That, for me, would be the answer in addition to what.
Thank you very much. The next question says, will the financial advisor only be available to SADA members? I will answer that directly on behalf of the team. No, the financial advisor will be available to anyone in the oral health profession. We are just providing you with a platform. We are using our muscle because of the numbers that we have to negotiate you a good price, which you would have paid even maybe double or even more than double if you went as an individual. So everyone will have access to the financial advisor and not just SADA members. Thank you very much. And then will SADA be assisting members with SADA membership as DPL outlined? This question, Dr. Chetty, I'm not quite sure what it means, but let me just clarify. In terms of DP, they've given you the allowance in that you are able to choose to get the relief for the 2 months that they have provided. Alternatively, you can defer your membership. If you choose the first option, you do not have to do anything. SADA, once they've received the go-ahead from DP and when everything is worked out, we are going to pay your money into your account. Where we don't have your account, for those who pay by check, we will contact you and we will agree on how we reimburse you. Those who want to defer, you must write an email to dpmembership@sada.co.za and inform Joseph, who looks after this as a consultant, and Joseph will then discuss with DP, who will then give an approval as to whether you can defer, and you must also indicate to us by how many months you want to defer your membership. But please, if you choose to defer your membership, note that you will not be covered by DP during that time. So any case that occur during that time, it is for your own pocket. But for those people that are getting a refund just for the 2 months, you remain covered by DP. That's a huge difference in there. Last issue that I want to make sure that everyone understand, for those that have paid DP in full, you will be refunded those 2 months. For those people that are paying on debit order, you must carry on paying your debit order, but you will still be refunded an equal amount for 2 months. The refund is not your debit order amounts. As you know, the debit order amounts are higher, but it will be what is it that you should have paid on a monthly basis. What is the 2 months equivalent of your membership? That will be refunded to you, but you must carry on paying your debit order. I think that will answer that, Dr. Chetty. Dr. Khan, when will UIF relief open for May, please? Unavailable currently. Excuse me. Punkaj, are you aware of this?
Thank you, the CEO. Yes, in fact, the notice has been put up on the UIF website indicating they're not processing or accepting claims for the month of May. It's unclear at this stage when will they do so, and we will have to liaise with the Commissioner of UIF to find out when will they start processing the applications for the month of May.
Thank you very much. The next question from Dr. Lombard. My bank tells me I do not qualify for a SME COVID loan because I already have an overdraft facility in place. Is this the case? Because surely most practices must have an overdraft facility. I will ask the panelists to answer. Must I read the question again?
I can jump in there.
Let's go.
Casey, that doesn't sound correct to me, and I'm not too sure if the individual has a personal banker, which bank they also bank with. I know from the engagements I've had with all the banks, it's open to all businesses that are in good standing with the banks as at the end of February 2020. So I'm a bit I'm a bit lost on that. I can do some more research and find out if there is anything, and I can feed it back to you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Solomon?
Thank you, CEO. I have received communication from some members that indicated that when they went to their banking, their practice bank, to apply for the loan, they were advised that they were not going to be considered because of existing debt, because of the overdraft. So as I say, I stand advised by Mr. Keshave. I do have email confirmation that that is what some members have said, that they were told that they will not be covered. And of course, the question was raised, how can this be the case if so many practitioners find themselves in the situation of having a practice overdraft, given the current economic climate and environment?
Thank you. The next question, of course, for Dr. Lombard, if you wish, maybe you can write again, send us an email with your details and we can find out more. Again, send it to legal@sada.co.za in this case, and we will see how we deal with it. Just maybe put it into the committee. The next question is, why are the medical aids not paying for PPE? I cannot answer the question. But what we are doing as SADA, as I indicated, we are meeting with we have written to all medical aids schemes, and we are now meeting with the big medical aid scheme, as I've indicated earlier on. So we believe they are willing to sort this out. When will PPS assist us with PPE? We had a chat with a representative of PPS yesterday. It looks like very soon we will get an answer. I don't know when, but the indication is that we could even hear from them in the next 3 to 5 days. Could you also contact Mercantile Bank to help their existing customers? I think we can try. We will try. Actually, let's put there, we'll try. So let me quickly say this. For those that I don't know, the things we don't know how many of you belong to which bank or which insurance. I think more and more I've realized that there's quite a lot of people from Santam. I think it is Santam, if not Sanlam. But so we're gonna also engage with them from that perspective. We don't have a representative there, but we will engage them. I do believe quite a lot of our members are in there. So we will try everything. But may I suggest that for those of you that want us to check with specific institution, send us an email and then we can take it from there. Dr. Martin Douglas says, amazing that dental suppliers are making so much profit of us as consumers. Example, Senifog from dental supplier, I suppose supplies more than I can get from a non-dental supplier. Dr. Solomons?
CEO, just short of answering that particular question that you're asking, I just wanted to make a note that we have just received, I think all of the members should have received a text message from Nomads that have set up a COVID relief fund to assist members with practitioners with PPE. So there is, of course, there is a website that they can, it's the nomadsday.com, www.nomadsday.com, that they can in actual fact visit to apply for some assistance with PPE. That is for some of the members as well. And can you just repeat that question, please, CEO?
Oh, sorry, I've gone back on it. Sorry, let me go, Dr. Solomons. I'll come back to it. Let's just quickly go forward. I'll come back to that one. Answered. All right. Someone indicate that in their application for UIF, I suppose this is an email coming back from UIF. They say there is my UIF application for my employee says R0. What does that mean, and what should I do about it? Are you able to answer that, Mr. Govan? Do you know? Yes.
I do not know what is the position, either because the employer may not have been registered properly or may not have registered the employee. I think I would be guided by somebody that actually deals with UIF applications, like accountants or bookkeepers.
Yeah, thank you. Next question, Dr. Barnes. My APSA advisor was not very helpful. Do you have specific contact person that deal with dentists at the specific banks? Can you please provide us with such a contact person if it exists? I think at the moment, I would say that, or maybe let me leave it to the panelists if you want to take that quickly before I say what I wanted to say. Is anyone from the panelists?
Casey, I don't know anyone particular that works directly with banks, within a bank or within any bank per se, but I can try and give you some contact details at a higher level at APSA who may guide you in the right direction.
Thank you so much. So the person who's asked that question, if you wish, just send us an email directly and then we will try and give you some contact through our board member, Hitton. Next question, can medical aids deny payments to patients to procedures done during lockdown levels 1 to 5? Can we do any procedures we feel necessary? Now, this question is for tomorrow. It's for tomorrow's panel. I'm gonna ask you to please re-ask this question tomorrow. Alternatively, I'll take this question and ask the team so they address it. I would like to encourage all of you to actually join tomorrow, because I believe that's where the majority of the practical hygiene side comes in. So you can fully understand where the protocols come. So I'm going to leave this question for them. If you don't mind, Dr. Pestana, how much work can we expect from our staff if all they are earning is from TRS COVID fund, e.g., can we expect them to mend the practice full-time in case of calls, emergencies, even if we aren't there because it's quiet? I think this may be Mrs. Wessels and Punkaj can maybe deal with. Any of you? Anyone, you can just unmute yourself if you want to speak. Punkaj or Mrs. Carina Wessels. I'll read the question while you looking at it. The question is, how much work can we expect from our staff if all they are earning is from the UIF fund? E.g., can we expect them to mend the practice full-time in case of calls, emergencies, even if we aren't there because it is quiet? As in, the dentist is not there, but they put, for instance, like your receptionist to say, mend the telephone call in case someone calls in, so you can make the appointment. Can they expect those people to work full-time while they're only getting paid through UIF?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if Mr. Govan has more detailed information, if there's specific rules regarding if you make use of TERS that they then practically can't work, or exactly what the rules are, but we can also find out and then just give feedback to members if Mr. Govan doesn't have the details.
PG?
CEO, in fact, if you are applying from TERS and UIF, the employees are supposed to be not earning during that period and therefore not being at work and not being paid a salary. So you can't have employers applying to COVID TERS for the unemployment benefits and still expecting the staff members to be at work. If you require those staff members to be at work, then you are responsible for paying those staff members. One could claim from the TERS COVID in order to top up any shortfall in the salary that you are able to pay your staff members. So yes, you cannot do a claim versus the UIF and expect the staff members to be at work at the same time.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
The question, just to clear out the question specifically, I think, stated how much work can we expect of the staff? So that is based on the hours. So the standard hour, normal hours is 160 generally in a month. I've got a quick calculation in terms of a percentage for hours work, which I'll share with you, and then you can then relay out to all the dentist practitioners just from, if you want to call it, a productivity number.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Dr. Pillay says, SAMA has announced that COVID screening has now been gazetted as a PMB. Will dentists be allowed to claim for the screening of our patients? If so, what would be the appropriate tariff code? PG, do you want to deal with this? I know we're going to deal with it tomorrow as well, but do you want to deal with it now?
This panel, it actually belongs to the panel for tomorrow.
Yeah, okay. I agree with you. We will deal with that tomorrow because we're also going to include the issue of coding to use. All right. Question to legal. Now this is to legal. The two minds on the screens. How will a patient be able to prove that they contracted COVID-19 from me as a dentist? The way the public handles level 4, like level 0. PG,
I think this is quite an interesting one. Equally so with staff contracting it from the employers. Practically, it would be interesting to see how anyone specifically claims that and actually is able to prove that. I think that will be extremely difficult. I mean, you'll have to prove that you went absolutely nowhere else other than to your dentist or as a staff member, for instance, to your employer. But I think it's going to be a challenging item.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm going to quickly run through this, guys, as our time is good. Punkaj, go ahead.
Just to remind members that Dr. Makhubele from Dental Protection also added the same concern that patients may have very great difficulties in trying to prove the link between them contracting the virus and contracting it from your practice. So I definitely have a very difficult time trying to prove that.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Punkaj. Guys, I still have quite a lot of questions. The PPE by PPS, is that only for SADA members or all PPS members? I have indicated this is a social responsibility. It's for basically everyone in the oral health space, whether you're a doctor, all of those people. So once they send the link, we're going to send it to you. It will tell you who qualifies. I just want to rush through. Dr. Douglas, why can't all of us just contribute to a fund as dentists in solidarity, 1,000 and create 1,000 Rand and create our own assisting fund to at least cover our staff who forms an integral part of our operation? I can't answer that. That is a question to us as the public, or rather should as the profession. And but I can simply say this: in one forum where we had a discussion, people have been saying that how can I contribute to a fund when I don't have money at this stage? So this is something that maybe can be taken on for the future, where we can create a fund like this. And I think this will be a brilliant idea to have such a fund, but possibly now it may not fly because of the fact that people don't have money. When the pandemic started, DRC decided to, this is from Dr. Makanje, decided to finally pay for the code 8110 for no extraction procedures. Does that mean medical aids can adapt and change how they pay us for PPE? And the answer is yes. And we'll deal with that also after we've met with the medical aid schemes. The money in all the SADA accounts belong to the members. That's very true, but I think I've dealt with this issue that there's a separation. There are people that have contributed to the DDFT as it stands, and it's been invested, and all of that. I cannot speak on behalf of the trustees. They are not governed, or they are not managed by SADA. I've done this one. Who do we send? I suppose this is our complaints to, or UIF complaint. I'm not quite sure. UIGHUR. We submitted, I think it's UIF. We submitted forms a month ago, fully compliant, but staff not paid as yet. No answer on the phone. We actually have provided, if you go to our website, there is a whole SADA right that speaks about the UIF processes, who you can phone, who you can email to. I know that when the UIF representative spoke about over the weekend, they said their call center is overburdened and sometimes it breaks. They've encouraged members to actually send an email. Please go to our website and look for a SADA right that speaks about the UIF TERS, and we have given you all the information, telephone numbers, people, everything. You can utilize that information. And you don't have to be a member of SADA to access information about COVID. If you go, you will see there's already a link at the beginning that takes you through to where we've got these resources. Anonymous, in response to TRS query, try submitting employee list online. Thank you so much for that help. You just adding. Yes, Dr. Anonymous, UIF, I thought as much. In response, we've dealt with this. The next question from Dr. Omar, how do practitioners charge for PPE? Dr. Solomons has mentioned us to engage with our patient. What is the code for this? Now, can I please again ask that we deal with this specifically tomorrow, because it's linked to tomorrow's practice, as well as the Monday meeting, where we've got this type of things that we have to deal with. But in one of our earlier release, we did indicate to, no, it was not PPE, sorry. This we're going to deal with tomorrow. I do apologize. Where do sole proprietors stand with regards to claiming for inability to generate income? Can someone deal with this question?
Thank you, CEO. I think the question is, where do sole proprietors go for income, to get income, because they're not able to generate income, which is pretty much all of us, which is the reason why we have provided all the different options that people can go to cover salaries. There is the COVID-19 relief scheme, sole proprietors, it affects them, go to personal banks, as we have covered before. There's PPS issues covered, and so, but it affects sole proprietors as well. So whether you're a sole proprietor or not, it affects everybody the same way. So perhaps in addition to what we have what we have tabled, perhaps some of our independents can say, well, what are the other issues? We have sourced all possibilities. There aren't any other. The disaster fund, we're waiting, then there aren't any other.
Thank you.
Again, so the sole proprietors do have access to that funding the government provided by the SMME website. It is limited, I think, however, to about 25,000 maximum. It's a grant fund that's given to them. The other one that they will be applicable for is the bank relief fund if they're in good standing with the bank currently, and they've had past history transactions like I discussed earlier.
Thank you so much, Ethan. Guys, we've got like 3 minutes to go. What I will do, I will take as much as we can. Most of the questions we are going to compile a Q&A because there's commonality on them, and we will answer them like we have now done with another meeting that we had. But let me just quickly go on from Dr. Chetty, where you indicate that today we're just giving you information. There is no benefit to the members. I would like to differ with you. As you will see it, you're talking about PPS, for instance. When we started, it was SADA that engaged with PPS to actually allow for the holiday. It was SADA that has now said, can you look at the profit share? It is SADA that has discovered that when we get the profit share, there's an issue with regards to penalties, and we've gone to negotiate with Isaac, who is the CEO, and that's why PPS is coming back and saying, okay, we are going to waiver that. So it's not true that we're just giving you information. We are not engaging with PPS accurately. And I'm happy for you, if you wish, to contact me directly, and then I can give you more information. The next one from Prof. Gelman. It is almost impossible to contact the UIF to establish progress for staff. The UIF phone number, could SADA approach the UIF to indicate problems? We have indicated, I've answered this, we will do that, but we also have information on how we can contact them. I'm just quickly rushing through this, guys. To my knowledge, these loans are only available to incorporations and companies and not sole proprietors, as conveyed to me by Nedbank. I think we've dealt with this issue as well. In case of practitioners go into short time, will UIF cover staff for the short time? PG, you want to deal with this?
As far as I know, that is the case in terms of but short time can only be negotiated after, if the contract allows for it, and after negotiation with the staff.
Thank you so much. I take note of the 4% personal loan from Sanlam. I have applied for 400 repayable over 36 months yesterday, and it was approved today. This was just information from another member. I do not have an overdraft, neither any debt, but Nedbank's making me jump through hoops in order to get an overdraft. We hope that the process that we are following with the major banks, this will assist you, Dr. Anonymous. I wonder if individual branch bank managers know about arrangement made with their head office. Once this is done, we will give you a letter which you can also use to refer to such arrangements. Will SADA contribute to the Nomads Fund? We will speak to them as an answer. Apologies, not sure if this question was answered. Can SADA not approach the UIF commissioner, as many of us have not received UIF? Yes, I've answered this. We are writing to them, and where we can, we'll be able to meet with them. Dr. Maestri, I've helped my husband with UIF claim, and maybe you are offering that you can actually help some of the members. If there's anything you can do, just maybe contact me directly so we can help members. Someone keep an eye on whether the president starts or not, and let me know. Dr. Osman, they should download the payment rejection report and then the website, and then the website will indicate the nature of the error. That's when you're applying to the UIF. Don't use CSV format. Add employees directly online. Do it again. They are paying overnight if done correctly. Thank you very much, Dr. Maestri. I think that's important because some of we've actually helped a few dentists, and we found that the way they're doing things is not working correctly, or they're not doing it right, and that's why there is a delay. So please hear what Dr. Maestri is saying. Dr. Douglas, my question was how it is possible that products like fogging or sanitizers can be purchased from non-dental suppliers for cheaper. Again, we can't answer that, but I think you're directing this to the dental suppliers. We can just send this question to them and say, guys, look at what our members are filling out there. Dental suppliers import while some products can be purchased cheaper in South Africa and then manufactured cheaper in SA, same quality, etc. I think you are saying there that they shouldn't therefore be overcharging. We agree with you. Which question you saying we have ignored? Please retype it for me if I've missed the question. To Anonymous, Dr. Kasu, actually you can also claim for TRS if you are at work part-time. That's what Punkaj has indicated. Sometimes does not pay out under the loss of income section of Dentiplex policy. What can I do? I think this is a question that we're going to leave with the committee to try and address when we address Santam. This is coming from Dr. I cannot pronounce it right. Attendee, surely the dentists, Anonymous, surely the dentists are the owners of all the funds that they've paid over the years. Again, if you are separating the DDFT and SADA, agreed with you, but we don't speak to DDFT. We've written to DDFT. We are waiting for them to give us an answer. Time frame when we can expect delivery of PPE, PPS. I've dealt with this, Dr. Naidu, above, and these comments you are giving allow dentists not to adhere to rules and to provide high level of infection control. This should not be DPL or SADA opinion. Not quite sure what Anonymous is referring to. Do I understand Casey correctly? If you attend the webinar via Zoom, the CPD certificate will be automatically emailed to those who attend. Yes, if you have been in the Zoom the whole time, we are going to verify everyone and then you will get your CPD certificate. But if you are attending via where I see that we got about 30 people on the YouTube, you will have to write a question, or you'll have to do the questionnaire to qualify. That's correct. Just note, Mercantile Bank granted me a payment holiday, invoicing me for 1 cent for the next 3 months. They do require 3 months bank statement and letter requesting the information. Thank you for providing that for those who are in Mercantile. If one is using TRS to cover one's employee, they are not expected to be at work, and I cannot generate income. How do I book patients? How do I arrange staff training if there is no income being generated, assuming there is no approval yet with the other avenues? I don't think we said they cannot work, but we did say that you have to adjust the amount of time that they work, unless if you are covering the difference between what UIF is paying and what they normally get paid. Funders does not allow for providers that have contracts with them. Most do accommodate balance billing, except Discovery. Thank you for that. We are very close to finishing. Just want to get this up. That is done. This is done. Sorry. And then the question is there also some type of assistant fund option available in order to purchase the necessary future equipment listed, for example, the extraoral suction, UV radiation? I think the loans that we spoke about earlier on through Dr. Solomon's, and which Hiten has given even more feedback, would be able to cover for those type of stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the last question. I don't see any question on the YouTube. I would like to say thank you very much to everyone. Dr. Somers, maybe you want to quickly have a 1-minute word before I conclude?
Thank you, CEO. Just thank you to everyone. And also just to say that, yes, it was a feedback session. Yes, it was giving information back on and outcomes on resourcing that we've had to do. There were definitely some very positive answers, and members are encouraged to continue to ask for advice. You have given them the option to write to legal, to write the complaints to, and ask for advice further. And as I said, exploration will still be continued, and then to consult their SADA rights, because some of the information in actual fact was mentioned before. We have done the work. And of course, our members are reliable. I mean, of course, they are entitled to know what the outcome of our deliberations have been. And just to say thank you to everyone and the team for their effort, for their time and commitment to see and assist the profession. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Solomos. Thank you to the whole team of the panelists. What I see out of this, it looks like we may have to again put something together to assist you as members in order for you to claim from UIF, because it might seem that some of you are not doing it correctly. So we're going to talk as a team and see, maybe we're going to create a video where we can take you step by step and say, this is what you need to do. And if this happens, this is what you need to, how you need to respond to it. That's what I take out of this, because most questions, close to about 70% of the questions are around TRS. So we're going to look at that. I want to say thank you to all members that have attended, all the attendees for tonight, and have a lovely night. Tomorrow, there's going to be one, exactly the same time, 19 hours, on the protocols that we have released. If you have any question, any query you want to understand, please come and attend tomorrow. On Monday at 7 o'clock as well, we're going to have another meeting, which will be dealing with the coding and hygiene, and please attend it at 7 o'clock. Wednesday next week, for this day, we are back with our mentoring and well-being that is led by Dr. Kasul. Please attend. They always have some good speakers there that can help you on the mentoring and on the well-being side for free. Thank you very much to everyone that has attended. Hope to see you tomorrow, and good luck and good evening. Meeting is adjourned.